Okay, so we're getting into the new year with a lot on our playbook. We have the minimum wage and things like that. But of course, part of what we were carrying over into the new year was what you call the Port Concession Agreement. It's been 12 years since the Obasanjo's administration when those contracts were signed. So in September, the head of the NPA says that those contracts or concessions will be reviewed before the end of the year. That does not seem likely to have happened, at least as of today. So that will be part of the playbook in the new year as we also look at what the administration would do in 2018 as far as the power sector transition market is concerned. All these are part of this very 20-page document released a few days ago by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry titled Economic and Business Review in 2018 and Outlook for 2019. To unpack this 20-page document for you is Muda Yusuf, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Live to us here this Monday, bright and early. Congratulations, and hope your end of year is coming to a very nice play, and you're dressed in that particular mood. Exactly. Let us get down to business. It was been a very good year, 2018, yes, because it looks like oil prices were sweet for most part of the year until October.
Yes. From the macro economic point of view, I think we can say it has been a fairly good year. From the point of view of oil price, just as you said, the oil output has also been fairly favorable. This has also reflected in our reserves, which has helped to give some confidence generally to investors, although it has come under pressure lately from a peak of around 48 in July, currently at around 42, but it's still fairly robust. The inflation situation has been also fairly within a tolerable range, although it has been moving on gradually at 11.3%, but it's still within tolerable limit. Issues of the GDP, again in positive territory, 1.8 as at Q3, which is also not bad, having regard to where we are coming from. So on the macroeconomic front, things seems to have been fairly okay. But for the economy, particularly business, to fare well, we need to complement what is happening at the macroeconomic level with what is happening within the business environment.
What are the key issues, or do you think any of the key issues, fundamental issues, actually changed in the outgoing year 2018? Electricity, infrastructure, energy, traffic, gridlock, weak consumer demand, interest rate, and all of that. Do we see any major change in all of this in the new year? Sorry, in the outgoing year?
Unfortunately, not. When you talk of major change, not. Because the business environment, granted there has been some improvements in the ease of doing business ranking, but if you look at the elements of the ranking, they are not deep enough. They talk about the ease of business registration, construction permits, some of these one-off issues, But if you look at the key issues that are impacting performance, you'll be looking more like at issues like the power situation, for instance. Even though one must acknowledge the effort that has taken place in terms of scaling up or ramping up generation, investment in transmission, but at the end user point, the impact is still not significant. Because if you talk to any business owner, any business operator, during the year, the cost of energy was a big issue, especially having regard to the fact that the cost of diesel went up, because diesel is already deregulated. So we are talking about per liter of diesel between 250 to 260. So whether you are in production, whether you are in service, whether you are in hotel industry, whatever you are doing, as long as you require constant electricity, it wasn't funny at all during this year. Then there is the issue of transportation and connectivity. Because when you have a big economy, as we have, and a vast land, the way you can get value is for you to be able to improve on connectivity. In other words, you must be able to move your products around the country. Either you are talking of raw materials, you are talking of finished products, you are talking of agricultural products. The ease of connectivity is very critical to the growth of the economy.
when you talk about the ease of connectivity,
Yes.
so the roads within the country were in a very serious mess, even though a lot of work has been done.
Yes,
I check at FEMA on social media, on their Twitter handle, and they said during this Christmas, New Year period, about 350 roads across the country were being worked on. And I said 350, that's like the entire country as it were. Then you look at when they all come down together to the main port, which is Lagos, then you now have where the real, what do you call the bottleneck or the neck of the bottle really is, and it becomes a very difficult issue.
Absolutely.
That goes into exports, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, quite a number of exporters have lost. They have lost relationships because you are not able to meet up with contractual obligations. Some of them have lost a lot of money because of this port issue. Because, you know, most of the products that we export are not manufactured products.
Raw materials.
They are raw materials, food products, and so on. And these things have very strict time limitations within which you need to move them out and move them across.
Cocoa beans?
Yes, yes, cocoa beans, some food stores, sesame seeds, and all those things. I mean, I have a member who normally exports food products. And he told me that by the time the products got there, the thing has fermentation and all sorts of problems. It has to be sent back. So a lot of people have lost money. And on top of that, there are a lot of complaints about extortion. You know, because if you are carrying export perishable products, you want to
get to the port.
You want to get to very quickly.
And get it on the ship.
And get it on the ship. So all these security guys who are managing traffic and all of that, a lot of stories about flagrant extortion from exporters.
They form their own cartel, taking advantage.
Taking advantage of that. So it's a major issue. Unfortunately, throughout the year, there has not been any major significant solution in terms of trying to solve the problem.
So we're carrying these through from 2017 to 2018 and obviously to 2019, technically speaking.
Of course. That is what it is. That is what it is. And as we speak, I'm not sure there is any concrete proposal or concrete solution in the offing as to how this will be resolved.
There had been solutions. The NPA, the Ministry of Transport and Aviation, so work together with Dangote and Flour Mills to get this done. It's a multi-billion naira project. You think that's not good enough?
But if there's a solution, the evidence will show. Go along the corridor. You see long queues of trucks and trailers, still even as we speak.
On the Ikorodu Road, yes.
Ikorodu, stretching up to Ikorodu Road, Western Avenue, and all of that. You need to speak to those who live along that axis to know what problems they are going through. And when you also speak to importers and business people. I mean, there was a business, one of the companies in that axis that told me that they have lost about 13 billion naira this year because of this challenge of gridlock. Because of the challenges of having to bring out raw materials, take things in, and so on and so forth. It's as bad as that. So the point here is that for the economy to progress, we need to create the environment for investors to thrive. Now the government is talking about revenue shortfall. They are talking about capacity to fund the budget. These things will not improve if investment in the economy does not grow. It is investors that will pay you the taxes. It is investors that will employ people. So whether you are talking of unemployment, dealing with social problems, scaling up revenue, you need to do something urgently about investment. And when I'm talking about investment, I'm talking about domestic investment, I'm talking about foreign investment. I'm talking about small-scale industries, micro-enterprises. This is where the attention should be.
Nigerians say, look, GDP numbers are good, but I'm not going to eat GDP numbers. So let's talk a little bit about beyond GDP numbers. What exactly do Nigerians want to see in the GDP numbers? How does it affect them?
You see,
2018.
You see, the GDP performance is like the foundation. The superstructure will be what happens after that. Because the GB tells you about the potentials, about the size of the economy, which is fine. But it can only bring value to citizens or to business depending first on how inclusive it is, if you are talking of growth. It depends on, again, how some of these sectors are impacted. If you talk to an average business person, the way to assess the economy is not by GDP. It's about how much profit have I been able to make? How far have I been able to grow my business? How much customers am I able to retain? How much people am I able to employ? What is the profit and how sustainable is the business? What is my market share? This is the way, and what is my cost of operation? Is it going up? Is it going down? What is the margin like? This is the way a business person will assess the economy. A business person is not so much interested in whether GDP is growing or not growing. Of course, there may be some connection between these variables. But from the point of view of somebody who's an investor, these are the parameters that matter. So the citizens,
yes,
what matters is, okay, how well am I feeding? How well can I even send my children to school? What is the cost of education?
How well did we feed in 2018?
Well, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Because if you look at food inflation, for most part of the year, the food inflation was higher than the headline inflation. It was ranging between 12 to 14, even sometimes up to 15, the food component of inflation. And it's because of all these challenges of, the challenges that the agricultural sector operators were facing, ranging from productivity problem which they have, because most of them are still using all this primitive form of farming and so on. Commercial farming presence in this economy is still very low. It's still very weak. Then you have the security problems, herdsmen attack, all the farmers, many of them are in the IDP camps and so on and so forth. Then you have the issue of the seasonality of our agriculture. Because it is basically rain-fed, it fluctuates from season to season.
So you were not surprised that our agri GDP hasn't been up to speed in the last 2 quarters?
It has not been quite up to speed. Even the size that it has. What is the productivity? What is the impact on revenue? Because you need to speak to the revenue agencies. Ask them, what has the agricultural sector been able to contribute to revenue? It's almost nil. It also speaks to the productivity of the sector.
You put it in this document that the government needs to do more to enhance productivity in 2019. So let's begin this look forward part of the conversation.
Well, productivity is key. Because if you look at the economy as we speak, even though when you look at the structure of the GDP, you say that the economy is diversified. But if you take away oil today from this economy, the whole system will crumble. Why? Because you need revenue to power an economy. You need resources to power the economy. You need resources to strengthen your infrastructure. You need investment to make all these things happen. And when you talk about productivity, you should be looking at issues like things like how you can bring in more technology to the space across all sectors. You need to be looking at how we can strengthen infrastructure. These are the issues, these are the things you need to look at your work for, the quality of manpower. These are the things that actually can help to scale up and improve productivity across sectors. And you need resources to do that.
Let's continue this part of the conversation when we come back.
Okay.
2 minutes. We'll take a break. Muda Yusuf, the Director General and CEO at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for his playbook for 2019.